Old man with you, the Blue Jays, facing the Pittsburgh Pirates, and there are tears in my eyes. Why? Because the Blue Jays lost to a team they really should have beaten. Full stop. I like saying that. Makes the old man feel serious. Early on, though, George Springer is back, and with him comes MVP goodness, and he got the Blue Jays on the road, in flight, except for one problem. What you're watching would be the extent of their offensive prowess. And that was a heck of a stroke by Georgie. And then after that, very little happened. And Johan Oviedo ends up looking like a Cy Young winner this game. Bichette sits down. It was really quite unnerving for me, the old man, to witness the Blue Jays just kind of become a pea shooter. Alejandro Kirk tonight, that's my little Blue Jays little bird feeder. It looked haunted in there for a moment because the Blue Jays were haunted tonight. Chris Bassitt, though, he brought his A game, and when Chris Bassitt is on, it's a sight to behold. Honestly, the man's pitch selection and pitch location, well, look at it. Looks like Rand McNally. It's like National Geographic there for pitchers. And Reynolds gets to him. And the Pirates got to him early. And once they got to him, that was all they needed, because the Blue Jays were fairly impotent on this night. And Tommy Pham, the reviled, the outrageous, the incredibly mediocre Tommy Pham, who's played for 10 teams in 12 years, look at that track record, gets them going, and they take the lead. And Bassitt really can't believe it. I can't believe it either. I mean, look at my nerves and my capillaries. My capillaries? It was my arteries. And Bassitt, he eventually settled down, got some good D behind him, and got out of the inning. But really, the first inning took about 430 years. And if you look at the numbers, the Blue Jays were sensational on this night. They really got great pitching. What they didn't get was any Dalton Varsho or real sustained offensive weaponry. The Blue Jays only managed 3 hits, which, according to my math, when I think about baseball diamonds, the game's really simple. You got to hit the ball, you got to score runs, got to plate runs. I like using that word, plate. Ty France tries to get something going, but he fouls up. Again, Oviedo, a very mediocre pitcher on a very bad, rotten baseball team, strikes out Nathan Lucas. Sit down. This one was tough to watch. Old man has ulcers watching this game. But Chris Bassitt, every time he came up, he seemed to be doing something, and he had a hell of a day. 10 strikeouts, keeping the Pirates hitters at bay. Again, good D behind him. There's my original baseball ticket. I have it sitting on a cobalt blue plush pillow in my kitchen. Not sure why it's there. Old man doesn't move around much. But Chris Bassitt's curveball and off-speed stuff does. Sit down, keep going, keep rolling. I mean, really, on a night that if the Blue Jays had just mustered a little bit for him, a little bit, he could have walked away with the win. And this was one of those tough games where he's really doing everything he can. I mean, the numbers don't lie. The Blue Jays just weren't getting it done. Bo Bichette actually breaks out. Top of the 4th inning. Ground rule double, or what they say now in the booth, automatic. And that's me dreaming of the World Series trophy, because I'm looking at this game and I'm thinking, by every stretch of the imagination, the Blue Jays should be pummeling and trying to take this series. But Alejandro Kirk was flummoxed because, again, for some reason this afternoon, the Blue Jays weren't patient, and it shows in the numbers. No one was able to get anything done against a significantly mediocre National League pitcher. And so you go to the bottom of the 4th, and Chris Bassitt, who has a lot of National League experience and knows a thing or two about changing speeds, sets down the Pirates consistently. They just couldn't get very much from him, really, and out of him, I should say. I'm thinking to myself, look at this artistic rendering of what Blue Jays should be doing, finding a way to hit fastballs. No, they were striking out, they were sitting down, and by the 6th inning, it became abundantly obvious that this was not going to be your typical National League road trip for the Blue Jays. Again, 20 games under 500, this Pittsburgh team. The Blue Jays 20 games over 500. There were only 3 teams ahead of the Blue Jays coming into this game in the league, and yet there were only 3 below Pittsburgh. That's how bad they are. But Chris Bassitt is keeping them in it, and it was amazing to watch him battle, considering the fact the Blue Jays really didn't come to play offensively. Little comes in, gives fans a little bit of cause for concern, but gets a nice DP. That's my inner soul crying. Nothing's really happening. Dominguez comes in, settles down the rally. Blue Jays turn another double play, and honestly, the opportunities were there, but no runners in scoring position means you can't plate them. Dalton Varsho unfortunately flies out, and that was it, folks. The Blue Jays drop a legitimately disappointing game, so before you get the World Series talk going, I ask you to temper your expectations, curb your enthusiasm, and if you can, take the time to like and subscribe so the old man can come back and be more cynical, sleepy, and bitter, just the way you like him. Have a good night, folks.